Good evening. It's Facebook Love number 179. The last one for this week, I think. I think I want to read a couple more very poemy poems. There is a strange feeling of this continued chaos because of the election that I find absurd. I'm starting to think that the behavior of the president looks like a bunch of kids on the Mickey Mouse Club making up a skit to make fun of politics. It's just so weird. And everybody else is moving on. We're just moving on. We want to know how we're going to handle this pandemic. We want to find out ways to be safe and healthy while we wait for the vaccine to be available. Vaccines. We're very concerned about our own lives and our own interests, and there's this silliness going on. So the thing that I love about poetry is that it helps me get my perspective back, and so I found a couple poemy poems that do that. The first one is by one of my very favorite authors who's more known for fiction than for poetry, Margaret Atwood. Most people know who she is because of The Handmaid's Tale and the follow-up book, which she published just a year or so ago. But she's written many, many excellent novels, as well as several collections of poetry. This is a piece from sometime in the 90s, in the before times. This one is titled Bored. All those times I was bored out of my mind, holding the log while he sawed it, holding the string while he measured boards, distances between things, or pounded stakes into the ground for rows and rows of lettuces and beets, which I then bored, weeded. Or sat in the back of the car, or sat still in boats, sat, while at the prow, stern, wheel he drove, steered, paddled. It wasn't even boredom, it was looking hard and up close at the small details. Myopia. The worm gunwales, the intricate twill of the seat cover, the acid crumbs of loam, the granular pink rock, its igneous veins, the sea fans of dry moss, the blackish and then the graying bristles on the back of his neck. Sometimes he would whistle, sometimes I would, the boring rhythm of doing things over and over, carrying the wood, drying the dishes, such minutiae. It's what the animals spend most of their time at, ferrying the sand grain by grain from their tunnels, shuffling the leaves in their burrows. He pointed such things out, and I would look at the whorled texture on his square finger. Earth under the nail. Why do I remember it as sunnier all the time then, although it more often rained? And more birdsong. I could hardly wait to get the hell out of there, to anywhere else. Perhaps, though, boredom is happier. It is for dogs or groundhogs. Now I wouldn't be bored. Now I would know too much. Now I would know. Bored. By Margaret Atwood. Another poem I found in the same collection from the 90s. This one is by a poet named Kathleen Calbert. The Woman Who Loved Things. I think this one appeals to me because it's so hard to shop or put our hands on different things, and so we tend to go around our own homes looking at the things that we already have and finding ways to move them about and appreciate them anew. At least I do. I don't need new things. I need to appreciate what I have and be thrilled at the bounty around me. The woman who loved things. A woman finally learned how to love things, so things learned how to love her too, as she pressed herself to their shining sides, their porous surfaces. She smoothed along walls until walls smoothed along her too. A joy, a climax, this flesh against plaster, the sweet suck of consenting molecules. Sensitive men and women became followers, wrapping themselves in violet, pasting her image over their fast hearts, pressing against walls, until walls came to appreciate differences in molecules. This became a worship. They became a love, a church, a cult, a way of being. But of course, it had to be. The woman's love kept growing until she was loved by trees and appliances, from toasters to natural obstacles, until her ceiling shook loose to send kisses. Sheets wound tight betwixt her legs, and floorboards broke free of their nails, straining their lengths over her sleeping. She awoke and drove out of town alone. In love, rocks flew through her car windows, then whole hillsides slid, loosening with desire. Her car shattered its shaft to embrace her, but she ran from the wreckage, calling all the sweet things as she waited in a field of strangely complacent daisies. She spoke of love until losing her breath, and all the things trilled to feel that loss too, at last. Sighing in thingness, she fell down, and the things fell down around her. She cried, "Christ!" and the things cried, "Christ!" in their thing hearts, until everything living and unliving wonderfully collided. The Woman Who Loved Things by Kathleen Calbert. Both of these poems make me think a lot about what we see and what we don't see, and what we, in some moments, don't realize are deeply real and important, and then when they're gone, we see them differently. And then some things that shouldn't be important become everything. That weirdness of humanity, our perceptions. This is Facebook Love. I hope you have a wonderful, peaceful weekend. Stay safe, wash your hands, wear your mask, and keep your distance. This is Facebook Love, and I'll see you next week.